Behind the Scenes with Phil.
Hello, how are you doing?
Good. I'm not gonna lie, I just woke up. Hi, my name is Michael. I am a director here at Jubilee Media, and I created Spectrum.
And I'm Phil, and I'm going to be talking to Michael about how he made Spectrum. Okay, so we're just gonna be kind of having a discussion about like Spectrum as a whole.
Okay.
The idea is to just sort of go through the entire production of the series, beginning to end. And we're just going to talk about like how it came to be and what the intention is behind it. Then also like strengths, weaknesses, and stuff like that.
Ooh.
Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool. So let's start from the very beginning. So going into Spectrum, what was it before it was what it is now?
Originally, we were in the office just having a conversation about, what's that rapper's name? He's young, he sings Moonlight.
Oh, XXXTentacion?
Yes.
Yeah.
When he died, there was a lot of controversy around like, whatever, like, I don't care if he died, he was a rapist. And I was like, oh my God, it'd be so cool to like explore when people think death is okay. Then I thought it would be cool to explore like Blackness in that, like around rap. But the idea came because I was like, let's do a series called like Cross the Line. Cross the Line was originally like you stand on the line and you walk forward if it's your experience, which has been done several times before. But we just thought like, oh, what if we give it a topic? Then I met with Jason and Ian. So Jason and Ian kind of helped me push the idea to another place from Cross the Line. And Ian was like, what if we call it Spectrum? Honestly, at first I was like, sounds like the cable company. Like, I don't know if that's a good
Spectrum.
I was like, no.
I actually have never made that association once, and now I'm going to think about it every single time.
Yeah, I always think about it. Always. Oh, I have a funny story. When I shot the first 3 episodes, I remember putting the line down. I had one line. And I was like, should I do lines for the somewhat agree or somewhat disagree and the strongly disagree? And the, like, should I do lines for the rest? And I was like, ooh, this was a new series. We never released it. We had no clue if we were going to put lines or not. It was really just like all on the spot. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I don't think I should do it because I don't want to be like, in the edit, I don't want to be stuck to those lines. Are they going to look ugly? Like, I don't want to be stuck to those lines. Oh my God. We released the first episode. Everyone loves a Black episode, but the top comments are like, why aren't there lines on the ground? Whoever made this decision to not put lines on the ground is stupid. I was like, that's me. We had to choose like which episodes like we wanted to do. I definitely want to do Black people because like I know that there's so many complexities to being Black. We also filmed a Christian episode that never was released.
What happened with that one?
Actually, the Christian episode was the first one I ever filmed, and it was not what I thought. I actually felt like I was gonna lose my job, to be honest. I was like, oh, I think I just fucked everything up. Like, I don't know what just happened. Everyone was agreeing with each other. So I was like, well, there was no Spectrum.
So do you think that the questions are what like relieve tension?
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what it was, is like the prompts, because the Christian episode, the prompts weren't really hard hitting. They were just kind of like, this is what you would expect a Christian to say. I think we hit it harder the next time we did the Christian episode because of that reason. But then for the Black episode, I came up with those prompts because like, it's my experience. I want to say to the world, like, not every Black person likes fried chicken. Or I want to say to the world, like, yes, we are afraid of cops and like people feel differently. So it's coming more from my voice. Yeah. And then, so the second episode was the Black episode. And when we started filming it, they came in the room and the Black people were quiet. They were so quiet in the waiting room. I was like, oh God, this is going to be so awkward. And then I asked the first prompt, I eat fried chicken, and they just started laughing and then like all went to their spots.
I thoroughly enjoy fried chicken.
I love it.
And then the energy just kind of like came alive slowly, and they all just had so much to share and say. It was amazing.
And I know how you feel about how the cast can really like tell you on set if the episode's going to turn out.
Yeah.
So I guess when you're casting for something like Spectrum, what are you looking for?
Big personalities always. And a big personality doesn't mean like, I'm screaming, I'm loud, but you stand for something. So you're making strong points that are very clear, which I even have a hard time doing sometimes. Yeah, it's just like you don't want anyone who's like super demure and like hesitant about like saying the wrong thing. I think it's okay to be like unsure of yourself. That's always fun to watch, like someone who's trying to decide like which way to go. Because that's how we usually all feel. We're all human. We don't really 100% agree with one thing all the time. I spend the majority of time casting is 6 people for one topic. Just think about that. Like millions of people are going to watch this topic. So there's a lot of pressure.
It's also sort of like a slippery slope though, because the best way to get the tension that like really makes a strong episode is by casting people who are like sort of extreme opposites and then like some stuff in the middle, so you sort of get like the full spectrum. But like it's tough because oftentimes the like extremes don't necessarily represent the majority of people who might be watching the video, so like,
but even though they're extreme, they're still part of that group, and maybe a small percentage, but it's our job, like if we have a platform, to represent those people too. You know what I mean? So it is a slippery slope. It really is. So I don't ever want to be like, well, that's too extreme, I don't want to cast you. It's like, will this help build the story that we're trying to tell here? The biggest issue I have with Spectrum today is like saying that these people represent this group. I think my point as a director when creating the show is being like, these are 6 voices from this group who are going to talk about this topic. They don't represent the group. And I think that doesn't come across at all. So when you see a paparazzi episode, you're like, that's the paparazzi.
Yeah. And I guess something that people may not know about Spectrum is that like you're asking usually a lot more prompts than actually end up in the episode.
Yeah.
What percentage of the prompts make it into the final cut?
That's hard. That's a hard question because I feel guilty, to be honest. Like we'll spend like 2 hours filming, maybe less sometimes, like an hour, 45, hour 30. And you'll get through like 15 prompts, and the prompts that make it in the actual cut are like 5 to 6. So yeah, it's really hard.
Do the prompts not make it because they didn't have as much to say on the topic?
What determines is like, okay, so we create a story, like it's unscripted, but we are building an arc of a story. It's entertainment. You have to make a story. You have to create something that people want to watch. If we played that straight through the full episode, it would feel super flat and like you would feel like nothing happened. I'm not saying we dramatize, but I'm saying like we highlight things. So we highlight the moments that really like influence the cast or like spark something in them so that you can understand the flow of the conversation. Like there's always a beginning, middle, and end where we could just like throw it up and be like, this is what happened.
And some people actually ask for stuff like that too. Like some people are like, can we get the full uncut version? Do you think that people would enjoy that?
Here's what I think. I think we need to do it. I think we need to release uncut version. And let me tell you, not everyone at our company feels that way. I don't think it's necessarily entertaining, but I think because of the cast, to honor them, because they give us like 2 hours of their day and then we're releasing like 15 minutes of a cut. That's one of my regrets is like in the Latino episode of Spectrum, there were a lot of comments about like, why didn't you talk about this? Why didn't you talk about that? But we did talk about it. We just cut a lot of it. And that was a time I felt pretty guilty about like an episode because I was getting feedback from people and like telling me, oh, this one isn't interesting. This one isn't interesting. And I wasn't getting feedback from like the Latino community who probably would like understand the topic.
Right.
So I cut a lot of stuff that would be worth revisiting. And the cast was definitely not happy about that. And I felt it.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have any personal favorite episodes that you've directed?
Ooh, I have a few. So my first favorite is the Black episode because every time I watch it, I feel the energy that was in the room. Like it felt so special to be there because of like the dynamic of the cast.
Hmm.
My second favorite is the Muslim episode. It just hits on so many points of like we were saying, beginning, middle, and end. Like I feel like the Muslim episode has a super strong like beginning. You start the tension and you feel the tension in the room.
The Muslims were in danger. They were the
Correct.
minority, right?
That's what I'm saying.
So, but
But-
it doesn't necessarily mean that because we are in danger that whenever there's a non-believer, we kill them. What non?
The middle, the tension kind of explodes and they like go at it.
Believing men and believing women. Same level.
No, disagree.
Same level.
I
read the Quran.
verbatim.
So you can't tell me.
This, in the court of
brother.
law, the
No.
Quran explicitly states
I'm sorry.
two female.
And then at the end, we kind of wrap it up, but we hit on like the LGBT community. We hit on like different things.
I take a bullet for anybody. I don't care what their sexual orientation is. My best friend, he's gay, and we've had these conversations before, and it's very hard, I would say, to be a Muslim and, part of the community.
I agree with you.
Beautiful statement.
You know, like you see the dynamic and like, yeah, that was one of my favorites. And then obviously like the teen mom episode is just like, you don't hear from teen moms in that way. They really broke the stereotypes, you know?
Right.
I was shocked to see like a teen mom say she planned her pregnancy. I was like, really? Like, whoa. Like, so yeah, it's cool when people like break the mold.
And I guess going into that, my question is like over the course of Spectrum's lifespan, have you seen any evolution in like how the subjects are tackled or how it's executed operationally?
Yeah, I want to see the series. I think it needs a like rebirth of like conflict. I think like it turned into an advocacy thing a little bit. Like we've chosen topics that like people are just excited to talk about the topic and be in the same room with other people who they relate to. They don't necessarily disagree or agree with each other like in a way that's like conflicting.
It's interesting because I think putting a bunch of people in the room who like share the same identity and like the struggles that come with that identity, naturally they're going to maybe want to talk about like supporting each other.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing to like sort of bypass because you don't want them to like not support each other, but you also want them to be vulnerable and like realistic about how it's affected them.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a subconscious hurdle to overcome to get people to sort of open up to strangers in front of a camera, knowing that there's going to be like millions of people watching.
Yeah, but and that's why casting is important. You want people who strongly will stand in their like belief, no matter who's in the room. And that's what I mean, I think, by casting like big personalities. And that's the tension to me, because as soon as you move from that line to another line that someone else isn't on, there's conflict, you know, like there's tension. I feel like you need those people who like disagree.
Right. Throughout the evolution of Spectrum, have there ever been any ideas for like things to do in an episode, a topic that like keeps getting pushed to the side because it seems like really difficult to do?
Yeah, it's the police episode. We have always wanted to do all police officers think the same? That, for some reason, is so hard to cast. I mean, I was like, no, Kendra, we're going to do it. We're going to cast it. Let's do whatever we can to cast it.
So you've had it slated before, like in a season?
Yeah. And we got like two. We got like two officers maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Not enough. But we showed up to the police stations, like asking, like, you know, like, hey, can you do it? They don't want to talk. They do not want to talk about it.
Of course not, I guess.
Of course not. Like, yeah. So I don't know. It makes me a little suspicious of them.
Well, honestly, maybe now is the time to like get them in a room and just sort of like force them to confront themselves in a way.
Yeah, I really want to see that episode and want to see it done. I just think there's so many good prompts that we could ask that could hit home like what's going on today? Like, what do you feel about this? And like, I also want to see them confront each other. I want to see the dynamic.
Totally. Sweet. All right. Well, this is pretty much all we're doing. I hope people appreciate getting a little bit of a behind the scenes on the show.
Yeah.
And now you can go back to sleep if you want.
Not everyone knows I was sleeping.
I was recording.
I'm not gonna lie, I just woke up. Oh. Yeah, I hope everyone likes this. I don't know, the spectrum evolution is an interesting one. Really just happened from us talking in the office, so.
Right.
But it did come from my personal, like, you know, platform Black people. That's kind of like my life. Like, I always want to make sure I'm giving a voice to my people.
Totally.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Michael. I will talk to you soon.
Yeah, dude. Talk to you soon. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.